In this PowerPoint, I'm going to show you how to add some objects to your PowerPoint presentation to be able to enhance the presentation. It's probably going to look a little awkward because we're not going to be doing much else in this presentation other than looking at how we can go ahead and add some objects. So let's just go ahead and give this a title. I'm just going to call it Microsoft Applications. Now, you can see that I misspelled that. I'm doing that on purpose so that I can show you how spell check works. I'll just go ahead and put by. Down here, you can see you get a red wavy line. If you right-click on that word, you can go ahead and right-click and then spell check it just like you did in Microsoft Word. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new slide. This slide I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some text on it. I'm going to list just CIS 105 applications. Again, misspelling, go in and spell check. And so we started out the semester working with Microsoft Outlook. We also worked with Microsoft Teams. We worked with Microsoft Word. We worked with Excel. We worked with now PowerPoint. And we will finish up the semester with Access. So there you have the applications listed. And you really don't need to do anything other than that when you're working with bulleted lists. If you want to change the order of your list levels, you can certainly do that. If you highlight your text, you can come up here and you can see where it shows you your list levels. So we worked with Outlook and Teams first, and then we've worked with these applications next. So maybe I want to indent them. I could highlight them and press Tab, or I can just come up here and choose a different bullet if I wanted to. If I press Tab, it's going to leave the same bullet, so maybe I need, I don't know, an open circle for those. So you can see how you can go in and you can make changes to your bulleted list. I'm going to go ahead and add a new slide, and this one we're going to just title it Table, because that's the object I'm going to show you. So again, the layout is called Title and Content, and so I don't have to add any text if I don't want to in this placeholder, but I can come down here where it says Table and I can click on it, and there's my table. So how many columns, how many rows do I want? So I had the 4 basic applications: Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. And so how many rows? I have 2 classes. So I'll click OK, and there's my table. So I can type Word, hit Tab, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access, and I can press Tab, and then I'm ready to go. The only thing that I would have an issue with at this point would be that I have 1 column less than I need. So I can click in this just like I did when I was working with a table in Word, and I can go to the Layout tab and I can insert a column to the left. And so now I could list my 2 classes, CIS 105-1 and CIS 105-5. And then I could fill this in with whatever data I needed to fill it in with. Maybe I want to know how many students were in the class, or how many students passed my test. So I don't know. I'm just going to make up numbers because I have no idea. And then we'll come down to 105. So there's a table. You guys can go in and you can adjust a table. You can select the boundaries in between, and you can double click just like you could when you were working with table in Word, so that it auto adjusts to the longest entry in the cell. And you can move your table, grab the move handle. You can change the layout, the style. With the table selected, maybe you want a different style. So just go ahead and be creative if you have to or want to ever add a table within your PowerPoint. The next object we're going to add is going to be our Smart. To go ahead and click on the SmartArt graphics icon. And I want to use some SmartArt to represent the applications we used, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on this arrow. It's called continuous arrow process. So we'll click OK. And if the little bulleted list box does not appear for you, remember from Word you can click on the arrow and then we can go ahead and type. We started with Outlook. Whoops. And then we went to Teams. And then from Teams we went to Word. And then we did Excel. Notice how I press Enter, it will add the extra objects to my arrow. PowerPoint. Whoops. Sorry about that. Let me backspace that off. And Access. So there's my graphic. And you guys know that you can change that. You can go in and you can resize it if, whoops, sorry. You can go in and you can resize it if you want to change what it looks like, if you want to change the color on it because you want it to look different, maybe to match your table slide that you had done before, you can do that. You can go in and you can format your wording within your objects if you want. So maybe we're just going to go ahead and make those all blue. Notice how you can just click on them and you can make those changes. Maybe you want it to have a different outline, the object as a whole. So you're going to choose your outline and maybe it's going to be weighted a little heavier. Maybe you're going to pick a different color. You know, that's entirely up to you. We're just working with the letters right now. So you guys can go in and you can enhance that object any way that you want to enhance it. So that's just one example of SmartArt. If I don't want to put a title on here, I can just click on my box and get rid of it. So SmartArt, it's just like you're working in Word. You're just adding it in a PowerPoint presentation. The next object we're going to add is going to be a chart. So I'm going to go ahead and click on New Slide. Whoops. And we're going to add a chart. Quite fitting since we just got done working with charts in Microsoft Excel. So you guys can go in and pick any kind of chart you want. We worked with line charts, we worked with pie charts, we worked with bar charts. So there are lots of different charts that you can work with. I'm just going to pick a column chart. I'll just pick a basic 3D column chart. And the nice thing is it goes ahead and it puts in for us our series and our categories in a spreadsheet. So all we have to do really is type that data into the spreadsheet so that we can see what it is that we're kind of wanting to compare. So maybe one of the things that we want to take a look at is we're going to look at the applications. So we'll put in Word. We're just going to do the basic 4 applications for this, and we'll do Excel. And let's go ahead and add PowerPoint. Whoops. And then we'll go ahead and add Access. So what is it that we want to compare about those applications? Well, maybe we want to take a look at, let's do 2018. And let's go ahead and do 2019. And let's go ahead and add 2020. So maybe we want to know, during the 2018 school year, how many students do we know that completed Microsoft Word? So I'm just going to, make up some random data here to go ahead and fill this in. So maybe we had 357 in 2018. Whoops, sorry. 357 in 2018. Maybe we had 332 in 2019, and maybe we had 387 in 2020. So then you can go ahead and you can fill in the information for your other applications as well. Obviously this is just random numbers just so we can get some data in here, and you can take a look at how you can view your data. Whoops. Okay, so notice that as you added that data into the spreadsheet, you were able to see your categories fill so that you could do your comparisons. So you can go ahead and close the chart when you're done working with it. If you ever need the chart back, you can come back and you can choose to edit the data, and it will pull up the spreadsheet so that you can just go in and edit your data if you've made a mistake. The other thing to know is that maybe you don't want your comparison to be 2018, 2019, 2020. Maybe you want to select your data and do something different with it. Maybe you want to switch your columns and your rows, and you could certainly do that if you wanted to. And so you click on switch column and rows and you click OK, and so now you've got a different perspective. You know, that kind of shows you how they stacked up in a particular year. So this year maybe it's a trend. Maybe we lost some students in some general education classes. This way maybe we gained some, not really sure how, except in the spring semester you could have spring starts from the 2018-19 school year. And then, you know, you can take a look at 2020 where we're at now, not quite finished with 2020. So just wanted to point out that you can do that. You can go in and change your chart type. If you don't like the column and you want a bar, you can go in and choose bar. So there are lots of different things you can do once you have it in here, just like we did in Excel. And so you can give your chart a title. You can go in and type in whatever you want that title to be. We'll just call it comparison. So there's your chart. When you click on your chart, you can go in and change it. Maybe you want to jazz it up a little bit, make it look a little bit better. You know, you can go in and change the colors. Maybe you don't like the colors that are there. Maybe you want something different for your colors so that it matches a little bit more with what you have going on. You can do that too. You need to modify elements just like you did in Word, just like you did in Excel. You can change any of those elements depending on if you're on the Design tab or the Format tab. So, tables. I'll just come back here and double click on this. We have the SmartArt. Let's say that, oh man, I went through and I deleted that and I really wish that I could have that back there in my slide layout. Well, one thing I do a lot is I'll go back in and I will just highlight a placeholder and I'll right click and I'll copy that placeholder. Then I'll come to my next slide and I'll right click and I will paste that. And then all I have to do, it's all formatted, and all I have to do is go back in and change the label. So this is actually SmartArt. So there we go. So those are the objects that primarily you will be working with as you create your PowerPoint presentation.